So in order for them to get out of the rat race, they had to get their cash flow up a lot higher than I had to get mine to. So I actually got out of the rat race and won the game with the group I was playing, even though I was making the least or the second least. Welcome to the Cash Flow Chronicles. I'm your host, Jonny and the founder of Catani Capital Group. For the last 2 years, I've been studying alternative assets and now help solve the problem of creating passive cash flow for creators, influencers, and busy professionals by bringing you 5 episodes a week of easy to understand education in the world of passive investing. What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Friday Follow-Up here on the Cash Flow Chronicles. I'm your host, Jonny Catani. I hope everyone had a great week. Hope everyone is looking forward to another awesome weekend. We're officially in summer. It's officially summer. Summer solstice happened on Wednesday. I hope everyone did something cool to celebrate, stayed outside as long as possible. Longest day of the year. So definitely my favorite day of the year. I think by now, if you've listened long enough, you know how much sunshine means to me. So this is, my favorite, aside from the 4th, which is like officially a holiday. The summer solstice is right there. So I hope everyone enjoyed their very long day, did something cool. I think it was on Instagram. I think it was Bandon Dunes. They do a summer solstice tournament where you play 72 holes starting at like 120 people play 72 holes. I think you play 3 different courses across the whole day, starting like 5 in the morning, which is really cool. So a lot of cool things you can do, with extra sunlight. So anyway, so that's awesome. I hope everyone is enjoying the market analysis series that I'm doing. Those are on Wednesdays. So if you haven't listened, go back to last Wednesday and then this Wednesday. They go in order. Also, last week's Friday follow-up where I talked about buying versus renting, I released a bit of marketing, but also, just wanted to spark a debate, and what a debate it sparked on LinkedIn. Oh, you guys, you can follow me on LinkedIn. Actually, you know what? I realized that's the only place I'm not Jonny Catani, so I should probably change that. Jonathan Catani on LinkedIn. But yeah, go follow me there. You can see the debate happening in the comments. Most people in my network now are lean on. So let's put it this way. Financially, it makes no sense to buy a house. And the point I was making, and I talked about this last week, and go listen, but by the time you pay taxes, insurance, interest, repairs and maintenance, all of the things that go along with owning a home, over the time period, between you buy it when you sell it, even the equity, and I put equity in quotes, that you think you've built up, really ends up breaking even. And in some scenarios, I'll have to repost it on LinkedIn, but a good friend of mine, Amy Silvis, shout out to Amy. She is a capital raising coach now. I've had her on the podcast. Anyway, she had posted a little while ago, and including inflation, if you bought a house, I think it was like a 10-year period, and the house had doubled in that 10-year period, then you're actually underwater due to inflation. And that's just inflation. So I believe it was like $250,000 house, and it's worth $480,000. I'm trying to recall this from memory. And you're actually underwater due to inflation. So very, very interesting thing to keep in mind there. And really what everyone's weighing in on when it comes to this debate is that they all agree that if you're really trying to make a financial decision, like you want to do what's best financially, then renting is the best thing to do. But, and I talked about this last week, where I really am going to, after I sell this house, I'm not going to buy another house again until, not to say I won't buy an investment property, because my goal is to buy one, but ultimately, I'm not going to own my personal property until I build, which I will eventually build, because honestly, I do. I want to build a dream home. Like, I have all these ideas, especially when it comes to like the kitchen. If you guys know me, you know how much I love to cook. So, but really, really financially, what it comes down to is it comes down to buying assets that cash flow, right? That is financially what you should be doing. And this whole idea behind, buying a house is made up by the banks, right? The banks needed a product to sell to the average human. And, they succeeded, right? And the banks make out like bandits on your house, especially if you hold, you hold for 30 years. There's probably a couple refinances in there. Man, it's crazy. So anyway, so you can go listen to that in more detail, or obviously, go check out my post on LinkedIn. So today, like I mentioned before, these are going to start being short, like 10 to 12 minutes. Really not going to go super deep, and really just want to have one main thought. So the thought I want to talk about today is financial freedom. And I want to ask, what does financial freedom look like to you? So the industry standard definition for financial freedom is your passive income paying your expenses, right? So, let's say you've got your rent, let's say it's $2,000 a month. Let's say you're $500 a week in groceries. That's $2,500. Let's say you're at $3,500 a month in expenses. Financial freedom would say that, that you need to get to $3,500 in passive income. And if you've ever played the cash flow quadrants game, it's one of the games kind of predicated off of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that whole training module. Is they've got the cash flow game, and everyone starts out in the rat race, and everybody gets a different career. When I played, I think it was like a plumber or janitor. Started low, but what happened so how it works is you get a different career, and each career comes with its kind of flat expenses. And because I wasn't making a lot, my expenses were low. So then you had like attorneys and, these other careers that were high income earners, but their expenses were so high. So in order for them to get out of the rat race, they had to get their cash flow up a lot higher than I had to get mine to. So I actually got out of the rat race and won the game with the group I was playing, even though I was making the least or the second least in the whole group. Because ultimately, what it boils down to is if your expenses are low, you don't need much in passive income. So that's kind of the caveat there, right? Is if you want this big lavish lifestyle and, your expenses are $10,000 a month, well, that's no small feat to get to in passive income, right? Not to say it can't happen. Of course, it absolutely can happen. It does happen. It happens all the time. People, it only takes them I've heard of 3 to 5 years and people are making $10,000 a month in passive income, right? So that's what I want to leave you with. What does that definition look like to you? And it's important to define that, because that's going to allow you to define and determine what your goals are going to be. So I leave you with that. And with that, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you have big plans. I will be out camping, mountain biking, hiking. Very, very excited. Also, hint, hint, you guys, I've got a deal coming up, okay? So you've got to go join my list because that's where you're going to figure out about it. TheCashflowChronicles.com. It's the same name as the podcast. Can't forget it, TheCashflowChronicles.com. Sign up, join the list. Also, just got word today that Fund 1 of the short-term rental portfolio, I've talked about it on here, that I raised money for and invested in last year, just crossed the $2 million in rental revenue mark. That's right. Just over a year into it and the $2 million mark. They're going to increase distributions for this next quarterly distribution, which means they'll cross the $2 million distributed mark to investors. Still not at pro forma. If you're invested in it, if you're invested in Fund 1 and you read the Q2 report, the Q1 report, that Q4 of this year will be the first year having everything fully stabilized and online. So very, very excited as things continue. They're really, really, TechVestor is absolutely crushing this one. So again, the only way to find out about these deals, you guys, is to be on the list, cashflowchronicles.com. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. Follow me on social media at Jonny Cattani, unless it's LinkedIn, but I think I might actually go change that right now. So thank you guys so much, as always, for listening. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you on Wednesday. See ya. Thank you again for tuning in. Who do you know that wants more cash flow? Share this episode with them so you can grow your cash flow together. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you're subscribed on your platform of choice so you never miss a new episode. Go to CattaniCapitalGroup.com to learn more.